Shocking new details surface in Biden's Autopen scandal, and I'm about to expose who's cashing in on it. Plus, Karine Jean-Pierre drops her binder and decides to write a brand new controversial book. But first, President Biden went missing at the White House, and you're never going to believe where Secret Service found him. Welcome to the Kerri Lane Show. I'm Kerri Lane. We all knew Joe Biden's cognitive decline was accelerating, but I'll be honest, I had no idea it was this bad.
This Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House. I mean, the guy literally stumbling around in the White House residence couldn't find his way out of his own closet. The President of the United States. I mean, this is outrageous.
If the closet story wasn't troubling enough, it gets worse. Speaker Mike Johnson was reflecting back on a conversation he had with President Biden when he had no idea that he had signed off on a major policy decision that could impact our national security.
Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand. Liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed.
He forgets signing a major executive order that could empower Putin. And now even Democrats are starting to whisper about what the rest of the country already saw. One senator watched Biden up close and walked away thinking, no wonder the border's a disaster.
There's a senator, Senator Bennett from Colorado, who went to an event in June 2024 where Biden seemed non-functioning, and he left that event, and this is in the book, thinking this is why our border policy, our immigration policy is such a mess. This guy can't manage the portfolio. There are competing groups within the administration, and he's not engaged for whatever reason, and that's why this policy is such a mess.
The former president released a statement this morning that reads, quote, "Let me be clear. I made the decisions during my presidency. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous and false." Now, my first thought when I read this morning is there's no way Joe Biden wrote that in the condition that he's in. And it looks like I wasn't the only one who had that thought. Watch this.
The statement that was just released by President Biden, let's just be perfectly honest, he didn't write that statement because the American people know that he hasn't been able to have a coherent statement towards the American people in well over 2 years. This is, again, them covering up. We already know that he was an elderly gentleman with a faulty memory. That came out of the special counsel's report, and that was almost 2 years ago. And so we need to get to the bottom of this.
So the investigation into President Biden's inner circle is accelerating. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comr is pushing forward at full speed and expanding his probe into the use of the Autopen and potential misconduct by top Biden aides. Now, Comr has fired off 5 new letters demanding interviews with senior officials, including former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain and ex-senior advisor Anita Dunn. They've been given until June 11th to respond, but right now, it doesn't appear any of those new 5 staffers want to cooperate without a subpoena. Senate sources also telling Fox News they're targeting who profited from the Autopen controversy. Documents show Biden aides kept private sector ties really close. And now senators are probing who got taxpayer money for spending on climate, COVID, and things like the CHIPS Act. Some of those suspects include Anita Dunn, who I just mentioned, received a letter from Comr. She's been at the center of debate over conflicts of interest. Not only was she Biden's senior advisor, but she also is the co-founder of a consulting firm, and her clients include Pfizer, Microsoft, IBM, and Ford. Biden's Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, also the first White House press secretary Jen Psaki, and several advisors connected to big companies like Microsoft, Facebook, and Boeing are also on that list. So is Jake Sullivan, then National Security Advisor. He advised Microsoft, Uber, and MasterCard until May of 2020. Then there's Bruce Reed, a Clinton-Obama-Biden insider consulted for the Walton Family Foundation, which is run by the co-founder of Walmart. And might just be the reason the retail giant stayed quiet on price hikes during Biden's inflation surge, but spoke up once Trump took office. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. Now, the corruption doesn't end there. Karine Jean-Pierre has had a change of heart, or at least a change in marketing strategy. The former White House press secretary now claims she's an independent. According to Politico, a former colleague of hers says she joked last year about changing her political affiliation, and now We have news of the transition, as well as the announcement that she wrote a book. Guess what it's called? Independent, a look inside a broken White House. Which is funny, because not too long ago, she was up at the podium swearing that Biden was firing on all cylinders and the White House was running smoother than a Tesla.
Do you believe that the president is as sharp today as he was when he took this job? Have you seen any slowdowns?
What I can say is this is a president who is strong and resolute in delivering for the American people. That's what I see.
So he's as sharp as ever?
He is as sharp as ever, as I have known him to be in my engagement and my experience with him. Our perspective is that it's not about age, it's about the president's experience. That's what we believe. I would put the president's stamina, the president's wisdom, ability to get this done on behalf of the American people against anyone on any day of the week.
Karine Jean-Pierre told us not to believe our lying eyes. Those videos you see of Biden looking dazed and confused, those are just cheap fakes. Well, what do you know? Now she's circling back to tell us what we all knew from the start. And she's cashing in, turning that spin into a paycheck. This wasn't about public service for her. It was about protecting the brand and selling the sequel.
I think what bothers me about this is the fact that it seems like she was in the White House for her own personal gain and not to service the American people.
I agree with you.
And part of that is Alex Thompson has some reporting that she had a publicist working for her pro bono to lift up her profile. When you're in government service, you're not getting paid a lot. You're not supposed to worry about your own personal profile. You fight tooth and nail every single day to defend your boss, to tell the truth, and to make sure that you are doing everything to communicate with the American people.
Exactly. And you know it's bad when your own party starts turning on you. Now, I looked up her book just out of curiosity, and apparently it's all about navigating a polarized political landscape, tackling, you ready for this? Disinformation, and putting principles before party loyalty. Oh my goodness, let's be honest. Nobody's going to listen to somebody who clearly doesn't understand those topics. Scott Jennings said it best when he summed it up like this.
I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend, she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
Congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
Scott Jennings just said what a lot of Americans have been thinking, but we don't dare say that out loud unless we're ready to be slapped with a label and canceled by dinner time. Now, White House correspondents over at Fox, they say the Biden administration is reacting to the news like this.
Have you had a single person text you about this that wasn't shocked and very critical? Because, all my sources in that White House, they were pretty surprised that this is a claim now that she's going with.
No, and I was getting text messages from Biden officials yesterday about this, that if you told me a year ago that people that worked for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris would be sending me this, I never would have believed it. And again, I found her behind the scenes to be a very nice person, but it doesn't seem like anybody that worked with her thinks that, because the knives are out.
My take? Don't try to sell us a shiny new moral compass after years of lying to America just to cling to power. That does not fly in my book. Coming up, judges are once again standing in the way of Trump's agenda, but this latest ruling is so outrageous, it'll probably make your blood boil. Plus, a critical update on the DOJ rescissions package and Trump's bold new beautiful bill, as well as another humiliating stumble by Tim Walz. Don't miss a second. Click now and join me over there.